section did we last do verifying? Was that 14.4?
It was either 14.4 or 14.3. I don't remember. I think it may have been both, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was like 14.
Sorry.
Okay. Rewrite the expression without double angles or half angles, given that 0 is less than theta, less than pi over 2. So we're just assuming everything is falling in quadrant 1.
Alright, let's see.
And we're just going to simplify. So 22, we have the sine of 2 theta over 2 cosine theta. So I want to simplify this as much as possible. So when I get to the things that have like multiple options, I want to try to pick the one that looks like it's going to allow me to cancel with stuff that I already have there. So just for reference, like when you get there, we'll try to talk through like what the best option would be to plug in for it. So I need to replace sine of 2 theta with something. So what would that be?
2 sine A cosine A? Or theta?
Yeah. And then over 2 cosine theta. So then now that allows me to cancel stuff out. So the 2's cancel, cosine thetas cancel, and so I'm left with sine of theta.
I wish they were all like that.
Yeah. It's like, I comprehend that.
And not that I think this is going to be a problem, but I'm just going to quickly throw this up here because I've seen this before, but y'all don't seem to have an issue with this. Sine squared of theta is not equal to sine of 2 theta. Some people get canceling happy, I guess you could say, and they'll start canceling like sine squared with sine of 2 theta, or like same thing with cosine or tangent. So just like, that's not true. Those are not equal to each other, so just don't do it. Like I said, I don't see an issue with y'all doing that, but I have seen it before, so I feel the need to mention it. All right, 24. Cosine of 2 theta over sine of theta minus cosine of theta. Okay, so I want to look through and see which of my options makes the most sense for choosing. Because cosine of 2 theta is the one that has 3 options, right?
Yeah.
So look at what you have on the bottom, okay? Sine of theta minus cosine theta. Now, if your things are on a page where you can flip easily, then that's great. But I'm going to scroll up for just a second to go back. Okay, I want to look at something that looks similar. Okay, the bottom one. Okay, so that looks similar. I can try to maybe factor something. You know, we'll see what we can do to see if it'll, like, help us out, but I'm going to use cosine squared of A minus sine squared of A whenever I get back to where we are. There we go. All right, so I'm going to rewrite the top as cosine squared of A, or theta, I guess for this problem, minus sine squared of theta over sine of theta minus cosine of theta. So, what does the top kind of look like?
Differences.
The difference is squares, right?
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Not wrong.
So, what would that allow me to do?
I don't know. I forgot. Cosine theta minus sine theta. Oh, times cosine theta minus sine theta. Or plus. Or, yeah, plus. Yes.
Okay, let's verifying that that's actually right. All right, over. Okay, now what's the only issue we see here? If I want, with needing to cancel something, what's the problem? Let me focus this a little bit so you can see it a little better because it's getting blurry.
You can't cancel them because they're not being like multiplied.
Well, what's
Different signs?
okay? The signs are different. Okay, the SIGNs are different. Obviously, this top one, cosine of theta minus sine of theta, but the bottom is sine of theta minus cosine of theta. But not completely a problem because what I can redo is I can actually take a negative out of the bottom as long as I keep it there. Okay, I'm going to rewrite it so you can see it. Okay, but as long as I keep the negative, I can flip them and change the signs of them so then I can cancel. So this is going to give me on top cosine theta minus sine theta times cosine theta plus sine theta. And then on the bottom, I'm going to take a negative out, and then I'm going to rewrite this as cosine of theta minus sine of theta. Because if I multiply this minus sign through, I get back to what I had.
Okay.
So now, bottom and top have the same thing. It can go away. So now I just have cosine of theta plus sine of theta divided by -1, or I can rewrite this as negative cosine theta plus sine theta.
Wait, so did you have to do that because the signs were different, or was it because the other signs? Which sign? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this one was negative sine, and then this one was negative cosine. So I needed to be able to cancel them. I needed to change where the negative sign was on one of them.
Okay.
I could have done it on the top one, and it would have been fine. I just chose to do it on the bottom one to try to keep it.
Talking about the actual sign, like positive.
Yes, yeah, I know. So I was like the SIGN because it's like it can get confusing. But yes, that's what I was looking at. All right, now for half angles, can be a little more work. So let's do one. And y'all are probably like, please don't.
I feel like this one section should be like 2 to 3 different sections.
That's why I spent so long on it, because it really should be. The verifying should be its own section.
Yes.
Like double and half angles, like they're similar enough that like putting them together take 2 days, whatever. But it's like verifying, it needs its own section, like they did with 14.3 and 14.4. But whatever. All right, so 2 sine of theta over 2 times cosine of theta over 2. All right, so this one's going to take a little bit of brain power, creativity.
If you were going to use that word, I would have just took an art class.
Okay, so I know that I've got to keep the 2, and then how can I rewrite sine of theta over 2?
Plus or negative, wait. Yeah.
1
Radical
minus
1 minus cosine
cosine theta over 2.
And then how about cosine of theta over 2?
No, Tom,
1
what the-
plus cosine theta over 2.
Okay.
I know these formulas.
So now I'm multiplying radicals. What does that mean about the stuff that's inside?
It stays there.
Stays the same.
Wait.
I can also multiply what's
can
inside the
multiply
radicals.
together.
So I'm going to make one jumbo radical.
Ew.
So this is going to be 2 times the square root of 1 minus cosine theta times 1 plus cosine theta all over 4.
Wow, this is so fun.
Okay, but
About what?
what's on top? What is that?
Difference is
It's a
Wait, no.
thing.
It's a wait.
It's like.
difference is
Yeah, difference is
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So I can rewrite that. So what would that give me on top?
1 minus cosine squared of theta.
Okay, all over 4. Now, this is where the creativity comes in a little bit. Okay. 1 minus cosine squared of theta is equal to what?
Oh, I don't remember this.
Wait,
It's going to be on the test, so you better remember it.
do we have to go back to that one?
Yeah,
Is that like
I don't even remember
14.3
14.6.
stuff? Wait,
It's one of the identities.
like I'm
It's a Pythagorean identity. Something squared plus cosine squared equals 1.
Oh, so it's
Sine
sine squared.
Okay, so 1 minus cosine squared would be equal to sine squared.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and split my radical into 2 pieces. So the top would be the square root of now sine squared of theta over the square root of 4. Okay, square root of 4 is just 2, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and rewrite that as 2. So now, 2's cancel. Square root of sine squared would be
Sine.
Side?
sine.
I don't know why that doesn't make sense.
And we're done. What do you know?
That's only all you have to do.
That's it.
Well, I'm not giving you the really hard verifying. That's
There's
like
harder.
Thank you.
that's like 2 cosine squared of theta is equal to 1 plus cosine of 2 theta.
I don't know what you just said, so.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll stop there because I think that's sufficient.
It's a different language.
So,
Math is a different
21, 23, and 25. So just those 3 problems for the rest of that.
So with the problem that you just said, like that we did not comprehend, will not be on the quiz, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We are stopping at problem 26 in this section because I don't really, to be 100% honest, there's not a reason to keep going. This stuff is important of how to simplify because when you go to pre-cal and calculus, there are things that you have to be able to rewrite. More so in calculus. You have to be able to simplify them down. If you can't simplify them down, you can't solve the problem.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you that I see very little of double angles in calculus to begin with, and almost no half angles. So be more concerned about the double angles, but know that the half angles are on the quiz. So don't forget them. But yeah, you can work for the rest of the time, which is like 30 minutes, on these 3 problems. So you got 10 minutes problem, so we're good. But I would also start reviewing over your the identities because you do need to know them. I'll do a similar thing. What I did is I'll do a checking page for you for those. And then I also have some worksheets that I will give you as a review that you'll work on tomorrow. So if you're like, I want to go ahead and start working on them today, I'm not going to require them necessarily, but that's going to be your review rather than me pulling problems from the book. I'll go ahead and give you those. I'll bring those around to you in just a second. So that you have them, and then tomorrow you can get the answers from me for them. And if we need to go over one or something, we'll spend time tomorrow doing that as well.